So can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop top, he says I'm gonna win big. Choose not the life of imitation. Distant cousin of revelation. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I know I blew the last inning. Whatever, dude. Whatever, man. Hey, this is the Afterthought for about 10 fights in a row. Because, well, they didn't get enough views for me to give them each individual ones and stuff like that. But I'll throw them in here. This is the Afterfight Afterthoughts. I go over the before, the during, and the after fight of the 3 fights that I'm going to do. I'm going to do the, or actually 4 fights, what the heck. Wladimir Klitschko, Tony Thompson, Kell, Brook, Carson Jones, Gavin, Rees, Derry, Mathews, and maybe we'll do the Tyson, Fury, Vinnie, Maddalone as well. Okay? So we'll start off with the Wladimir Klitschko, Tony Thompson fight. And going into this, for the after fight there, is Wladimir Klitschko. And coming into this fight, you know, he's got one of the longest title reigns ever. He's got one of the longest, most defenses ever. And it's, you know, he's getting criticized a lot for the opponents that he's fighting. But my say to you is who's he gonna fight? He's beaten everybody that they put up in front of him. And he's beaten the top guys in his division. So, I mean, when you start looking at the top 10, it's just a bunch of dudes that the Klitschko brothers have beat up. And now it's like repeatedly. So, you have Areola that's making a climb back up, which is nice to see. David Price is sitting there. He's a couple fights out from being ready. So, who are they going to fight, you know, in this? If he wins, okay, so he wins again. He's already beaten this guy before. If he loses, you know, oh well, here we told you the Klitschkos were overrated. So I mean, it's really a lose-lose for him. No matter how this fight comes out for him, that's how it's going to be. Is he going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder though? Because Tony Thompson used the, well, my knee was a bit twinged and things like that going into the fight. Is that going to spur him enough to want to go in there and change things, change the outcome a little more than that, and leave no doubt on the table? Going over Tony Thompson, you know, he's trying to avenge his loss. He has the excuse, and maybe it's a true thing, that he actually did, in fact, hurt his knee. He's going to have to come in here. He's going to have to be a bit more aggressive. Is he going to be able to withstand, you know, those right hands? Does he have anything for him? What is he going to do? Is he going to be able to stay on the outside? Use his reach. And it's kind of hard with a Klitschko to use your reach, but he does. He's got a couple-inch reach on Wladimir. So, on his side, if he wins, validation. You know, and he's going to be on top of the world, and he's definitely going to get a fight with Vitaly. Because these Klitschko brothers don't like you messing with the other one. You know, you mess with one, you mess with both. So, if you're blessed enough to get past one of them, the other one's going to come in and try and clean up the mess. You know what I mean? And if you look too good against one of them, the other one's going to come in and clean up your mess. You know, it's you know, and if he loses, he loses. You know, that's the thing right now. It appears with the heavyweight division is if you lose to the Klitschko, you really don't drop down that much, and it's not going to take a lot out of you. So going into the fight there, you know, round 1, feeling out process, checking out their jabs, control pretty much was more for Klitschko there. Gave the round 10-9 to Klitschko. Round 2, it was good action, some combos by Klitschko and to the bodies and counters. They start trading a bit on the ropes, but Klitschko was pressing, you know, and attacking more, slipping, you know, and Thompson slips. 10-9 for Klitschko in that round. The third round was actually a good ebb and flow between both fighters, and relatively uneventful though. You know, they were trading body shots there. One of the better rounds for Thompson, so probably his best round. I actually called that a draw. One of the few times that a fighter's gotten close enough to have a draw or actually win a round over Klitschko, you know, like that. Fourth round, getting a bit sloppy. Klitschko was. They're trading their jabs. You know, these right hands start steaming in from Klitschko, and you can see that Klitschko's starting to push the pace and take over the fight. 10-9 Klitschko. Going into the fifth round was slow start. Thompson's working.
he's outworking Klitschko solidly. Klitschko starts coming back with the jabs, starts landing rights. Big right hands start landing in. Thompson goes down. Holds on basically till the end of the round, and he survives, and that was a 10-8 round for Klitschko. Going into the 6th round, has a fast feel to the round. Rights by Klitschko's. Is backing up Thompson at this point. Thompson's eating the 1-2s, and next thing you know, Klitschko lands a 4-punch combo, and down goes Thompson again. And he can't let go of the top rope. Now, some people will be like, well, he stood up, man. He beat the count. If you don't let go of the rope that's holding you up, kind of steadying you because your legs aren't underneath you yet, you're not up. And that's why the ref always signals you to walk toward them. And that way they know whether or not you were actually able to continue. Thompson couldn't let go of that top rope, and nor should he have, because that was more the same coming to him. Now, what's left for Klitschko? What's left for him to really do? He's not going to fight his brother, so forget about it. Is he take a couple of little fights there, maybe give an areola a shot again? Or does he sit back and, Povetkin's never going to fight anybody. Here's a guy that's ranked high. He's never going to fight anyone. Does Chambers come back up in? No. Adamek get another shot? No. Are they sitting back and are they going to wait for, the Prices of the world and the Furies of the world to get 3 or 4 more fights underneath them to challenge them? And take a couple of little side fights on the side and then have everybody just talk crap about them for another 2 years? You know what I mean? So, they can't do any more than what they're doing. So, whoever gets in the ring with them, I think, is going to be a criticism on them and go against them. With Tony Thompson, yeah, okay, you got beat up by a Klitschko. That's pretty much par for the rest of the division. So maybe he'll, try and get those fights against the Chambers. Try and, use that size on him. Get in there with an Adamek, if he's lucky enough. Get in there with Chisora Hay winner kind of deal. Those kind of things. Just to, propel his career, I guess. But against the Klitschko, no. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. Let's roll into the Kell Brook Carson Jones. Yeah, this was a good fight. If you missed this fight, you missed a really, really good fight, and you should watch it. If you haven't, just shut this video off and go see it, and then come back and give me another view. Again, start out with Kell Brook there. This is a home fight for him. And will the pressures, and the distractions of being in a big fight like this take away from him a little bit? Because, admittedly, this is going to be a fighter that's going to test him. And how is he going to stand up to the test? Can he stay composed? He must win this fight. If he doesn't, when you have a whole country backing you, man, and you kind of fail him, it looks a little rough on you. Going over to Carson Jones, is he real? What he wins are okay against decent competition. Most of his losses came when he was young. As a matter of fact, 6 of them came when he was only 21. He already had 6 losses. He's 25 now. He's maturing. His power. Is he peaking at the right time? If he wins, wow, we're already starting to look at legitimate title shots. And obviously, this is for an IBF title shot, so it really, I didn't need to say that last line. And as I said, is he peaking at the right time? Is he catching Kell Brook right at that moment? Because he is mature beyond his years. Okay, going into this, in the first round, there's a feeling out. Brook is controlling, working the body. Starts heating up near the end. Jones is landing a bit, but I gave that round 10-9 to Brook. In the second round, faster start. There's some counting, controlling, landing to the head and body between both of them. Brook starts teeing off a bit. Body work by Jones. Jones pushing the pace, but it's not enough. Again, another 10-9 round for Brook. Third round, Brook controlling, keeping his distance. Jones is stalking him. Brook's overall just working the body. Seems he's pulling away with the fight because he's won 3 rounds in a row. Going into the 4th round, you saw much of the same. Accurate jabs. He's very active. Is he a bit taking off a little bit in this round? You start wondering in the middle there. Jones starts working the body, but the combos over the body work, I went 10-9 with again with Brook winning that one, so that's 4 rounds to none. In the 5th round, you saw more of the same. Jones was absolutely getting pounded in this round a little bit by the hooks and everything, but he keeps pushing forward. He keeps coming back. He gets worked for the first 2 minutes of the fight or the round, and then he starts coming back in that last minute, and he starts testing him. It's like, I've hit this guy with my best shots, and he still keeps coming forward. And again, I gave that round a 10-9. I gave it to Brook. So that's 5 rounds to none. 6th round, you started to see a change. In the 6th round, straight right lands by Brook, and there, big 1-2 by Brook, and it actually looks like Jones is hurt in the fight. Combos by Brook comes in, but then Jones starts firing back. He starts firing back with the uppercuts and landing the rights. They're trading. Jones is pushing the pace and working that body. In this round, I gave it a draw. I thought there was a great ebb and flow in that round, whereas Brook won the first minute very, very big. It was like Jones took over from there. And then in the 7th, you started seeing something changing. They started trading, and Jones closes that distance. He's starting to get to him. He's starting to land. He's throwing lead right hands, and they're starting to land. There's a nice ebb and flow in the round. Jones keeps pushing and landing to the body. Brook is firing back, but Jones is taking over, and I gave that round to Jones. In the 8th round, much of the same, much of the same as the 7th round. You saw the nice ebb and flow going on, but you saw Jones closing out the end of those rounds. And he's getting to him, and he's hitting him, and he's causing Brook to get out of his comfort zone. He's making Brook have to fight a different fight than he wants. Brook wants to be able to sit back, pot shot at a distance, but this guy is walking through those shots. Granted, he's getting touched by him, but he's still able to get in there and land clean, effective shots on Brook. And I gave that round to Jones as well. Going into the 9th, again, most of the same. It actually started looking like toward the end of the round that Brook might have been fading. And I gave that round to Jones. Now, Jones has won the last 3 rounds, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and I had the draw on the 6th. So, has the making of a very scary, it looked like a draw might happen, actually is what happens. In the 10th round, I thought there was a great back and forth again. They were trading big right hands. Jones actually was hurt in that round. You had Brook pouncing on him, trying to take him out, but Jones comes back. The body shots by Jones. Jones starts pounding him and pounding that body and everything, and I thought that was a great ebb and flow round again, and I had that round a draw. Going into the 11th, finally, it looks like the life is back into Brook. He's ready to really take control, and I had him winning the round. I mean, it was a great back and forth round, but I thought Brook did enough in that round, and he won. I had him winning that round. Going into the 12th, a fast start, and Brook looks to be turning it on. Great ebb and flow. Jones starts pounding the head and body. Brook looked hurt in that 12th round, and I gave the 12th round to Jones. When it was all said and done, and I added up, I had 116 to 114 for Kell Brook. Fantastic fight for both fighters. Nothing to be lost on this. Had this not been for the who's going to get the fight for the title, I would say there would probably be a rematch after this. It may be a rematch in the States. Just to get the crowd. Not that there was bad judging. I'm not saying that at all. I thought the judging was correct. But not the draw part. So I guess I'm disagreeing. Whatever. Shut up, boy. Anyway, so as you get that, you start looking at, obviously Kell Brook's going to get the title shot. The winner of the Bailey-Alexander fight. I don't see him fighting anything in between here. Would like to see some more road work out of him, get some more stamina built up. But he pulled through the heart check, man. This was that fight. Every fighter has to go through one of these to see if they're going to make or break it. You know, Prince Naseem Hamed, love him to death. He had the one heart check fight and lost it, never came back. You know, so you hate to see that. But with this, you know, him actually going in there and being tested and pushed was a fantastic thing for him. Over on Carson Jones, very game fighter. I mean, he's not at his best yet. You know, he is peaking. He's getting there. You know, and you had to really like it. He needs to be more active earlier in the rounds. Too often he gives away the first half of the round and then fights the second half. Well, if you do that, you lose the first half and then you win the second half. If you don't win the second half more convincingly, then you're looking at draws, you know, and stuff like that. And if you start too late, then you're looking at, well, this guy won 2/3 of the round. He won the first 2 minutes and lost the last minute. So, I mean, judging is not like it used to be. You're not winning a fight on the last 10 seconds or last 30 seconds of a round. You have to fight the entire time. He's got the chin. There's no questioning his chin now. Definitely got tagged with a lot of shots. His recovery time is amazing. Stamina seems to be there. And if this was a 15-rounder, I think he'd have probably pulled it out, but it's not. It's only 12. And that was the great thing about this fight. Up next, maybe a Kendall Holt. You know, you have a Chris Van Heerden. You have a Mike Jones. You know, those kind of guys. Good future, and he's a game fighter. Would love to see him take on someone else. This next one is the Gavin Rees versus Derry Mathews fight. And we'll start with Gavin Rees. You know, he must win to get back into the world title talks. Now, this is a rematch fight because the first one was stopped because of a headbutt, which broke Mathews' nose. You know, will he be able to put away Mathews? That's the question coming up. If he looks good in the win, obviously the title shots are going to be in the future. If he looks bad in the win, he might still have to take about 2 or 3 more fights before he gets back in those talks. If he loses, you know, that's bad. You know, I mean, world title shots could be gone for good. He is 32 years old, and the time clock doesn't stop ticking unless you start using PEDs. But anyway, going over to Derry Mathews, you know, how much is in his tank? I mean, he's been in some tear-ups, you know. I mean, he's really been in some tough fights. When you look at, is his face healed? You got a broken face, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of, you know, you never know when those would work. If he wins, his career is reborn. And he might actually get into talks and get that, what we call a cheap title shot. They see a guy, he's like, oh, he just made a name for himself, he beat Gavin Rees, let me fight him so I can propel my name, kind of deal. They do that, just saying. If he loses it, it's close, you know, he's still going to be with the European fighters, and if it's a blowout knockout, you know, stuff like that, he's going to go down and he's going to be one of those solid journeyman stepping stone guys. You know, he'll fight the up-and-comers, but title shots and stuff like that are probably going to pass him by. So, and then the first round there, good feeling out. There's nice jabs by Rees. The speed of Rees is evident. You know, he is faster. Mathews' nose is already bleeding. They're trading Mathews' closing. I had that at 10-9 round for Rees. In a second, they were trading hooks. Mathews keeping distance, boxing well. I enjoyed this round for him. They were trading some body work by Rees, but he can't close the gap, and I actually gave that a 10-9 round for Mathews. In a third, you know, it looked like Rees closed the gap a little bit, started landing early, pushing the pace, nice rights. Actually looked like Mathews might be hurt in this round. They were warring a bit. Rees teeing off on the body shots, trying to build up on those, because word is out that maybe Mathews is soft to the body. I gave that a 10-9 round to Rees. And just when you think Rees might be starting to take over and control, Mathews comes back in the fourth. You know, and he keeps his distance. They're trading jabs, relatively uneventful round, but you saw Mathews establishing that distance in his jab. So you had to like that when you watch it, and I gave that round 10-9 to Mathews. Very nice fight right now. In the fifth round, they're trading jabs. Rees does close that gap. You know, the right hands land, right and left hooks. You know, Mathews is still trying to box, but Rees is closing that gap. He's starting to land right hands. A big right hand actually buckles Mathews there a bit, and Rees seems to be overpowering him and walking through Mathews' shots to close that gap and land. I gave that round a 10-9 to Rees. In the 6th, you saw more of the same, with Rees pressing, backing him up, landing the body shots and hooks. He was imposing his will, and Mathews appeared to be fading in this fight, in this round, in the 6th. And I gave that round to Rees as well. In the 7th, you saw a breath of life come into Mathews, and it looked like just when you thought Rees was completely taking over, Mathews comes back, starts doing his boxing, keeping his distance, and I actually had that round a draw. In the 8th, this is where you actually started to see that maybe, Rees starts off slow, for about the first 20 seconds, and then turns it up and starts pounding the body. Some 1-2s land by Mathews, and you're thinking that, oh, okay, maybe he's coming back into this, but you can actually see him fading, and Rees really starts pounding him at the end of the round, and Mathews is almost knocked out. Now this round you could have just about gave a 10-8 round to, but I kept it a 10-9 for Rees. Going into the 9th, you could see the writing on the wall. Rees comes out, Mathews is backing away, Rees starts pounding him on the ropes, big right, and he goes down and just doesn't have enough in the tank, and it was a knockout by Rees. So, going and looking over at that, with Rees, he's ready for title shots. Maybe Richard Averill, the Burns-Mitchell winner. Time is ticking on him, so he doesn't have a whole lot of time. He's got to get these shots. He's got to get them now. When you look over at Mathews, is the tank empty? I don't see any title shots in his future. Katsidis, John Murray, winner, might be a nice one. Daniel Estrada. Now you got to start looking at who's an upcoming fighter that he can give a good fight to, but maybe not beat. And that's what you start looking at. And it's pretty much, I would say Derry Mathews is more on the end of his career now, and that's what you're going to see out of him from here on in. And I think we're done with that one. Tyson Fury, when you start looking at a Tyson Fury and Vinnie Maddalone, Tyson Fury, he's got to prove some things. He's got to get his D a little bit more squared away. He's got to work on that jab a little bit better. If he wins, it's pretty much expected, and you can start maybe seeing some title talk in the future. If he loses, everything is gone. Forget about it. Even though he's only 23, if he loses, it's going to set him so far back because you have guys like Price and the younger guys as well coming up that are going to take away his shots. And Chisora has enough excuses and things that have happened, with his gland problems apparently as to why he was gaining the weight and stuff, and he has a bigger voice. But at the same time, Tyson Fury seems like a good guy. Over on Vinnie Maddalone, if he wins this, he might get a title shot out of it, honestly. I mean, he's 37, so he's definitely on the downside of his career. He's never really beaten a top fighter that he's fought, but maybe he gets lucky because he does have the power to pull it out. If he wins, it's an absolute shock. People will line up to fight him to get, because, hey, he beat Fury, lower guys. I'm not saying the Klitschkos are going to fight him. What I'm saying is the Areolas, those guys might give him another shot again and go in there. But if he loses, you'll have that. When you start looking at this fight, you can see that Tyson Fury is controlling it very well, throwing nice jabs. His jabs look crisp and everything like that. His right hands, the combos. And that's the thing about Fury. When you start actually watching him and seeing him fight, you realize, hey, he's not only a heavyweight, but he's a heavyweight that throws combos. Now, granted, he might not have that one-punch power to take you out. A heavyweight that throws combos, it's going to be hitting you with 240 pounds every punch, takes a lot out of you. And you could see that on Vinnie Maddalone's face. And as that fight went on and progressed, you were kind of like wondering, when is this fight going to stop? And the reason why I'm not giving round by rounds is because there was no deciding factor on who won. He won all the rounds. Vinnie Maddalone didn't stand a chance in there, and he eventually got stopped in the 5th round. His face was busted up. He looked roughed up and bad. And admittedly, maybe Tyson took his foot off the gas a little bit because he didn't want to, really hurt him. And that's what happens. These fighters have too much pride. They take too many hits, and then they're done. Vinnie Maddalone is still going to be a good stepping stone fighter. He's a guy, if you beat him, then maybe you're ready for the upper tier guys. If you can't get past him, you're not going to be getting those shots anytime soon, if ever. Looking at Tyson Fury, he's got to maybe start clamoring for that fight with David Price. You know, hey, let's do this. You know, let's get it on. You know, maybe do a quick one with Richard Towers, beat him up, and then go on to these other guys. But admittedly, even they were looking at Thomas Adamek, is who they think is on the horizon for Tyson Fury, and if he gets by Adamek, and let me say that again, if he gets by Adamek, and that is definitely not a guarantee, then maybe you could start seeing him get the maybe an areola. I don't see him getting by areola. So, but you know, who knows? He's only 23. He can improve, and we'll see from there. All right. Well, hey, this is Bigragu. I can't believe I just talked for 25 minutes without a drink, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna get one now, maybe two. All right, Eduardo, are we done, man? Are we done finally? All right. Well, hey, this is Bigragu. Mo.